What were the dumbest lies you believed when you were a kid? When I was a child, I got upset after a button came off of my shirt. My mother told me not to worry and that if I placed the button under a rock in the yard, the button fairy would replace it with a quarter. I believed it, and to my mother's dismay, she discovered I had pulled the buttons off of every shirt in my closet. To this day, 40 years later, shirt buttons can still be found under random rocks in my parents' backyard. I was 7 years old. One of my teachers wanted us to write a letter to a family member or friend or someone. I wrote the letter, got the envelope, got the stamp. My mom had worked at the county jail at the time and she suggested I write one of the inmates who never got mail. So I did. I wrote something along the lines of "I'm sorry you're arrested, but I hope you get out." I even signed it with my 7-year-old signature. While I was writing the letter my mom had left to get to the store, I asked my older brother what our address was, because I needed to put a return address. He said 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, Washington, D.C. 20500. For those that don't know, that's the address to the White House. I wrote it on the letter and put it with the mail my mom was sending out. Mind you, I grew up in Michigan and never left the state, but I wasn't smart. Years later I went to pick my mom up from work, and one of the co's called me Mr. President and I asked why he said that. He mentioned the letter I wrote years prior, and how it was a joke in the jail anytime my mom mentioned me. When my sister and I were kids, our mom lied and told us that she was a Grammy-nominated and winning singer. She said that all of the trophies were in our attic, knowing that neither of us would ever go in and check for them. My sister and I bragged to all of our friends about it for years, only to discover that our mom isn't a very good singer at all. We've held this lie over her head for nearly 20 years now, so this past Christmas, we gifted her with a fake Grammy that has her name engraved and her favorite music category citing her as the winner of it. She laughed until she cried. Sometimes when we asked for McDonald's my dad would say no, but turn in anyway and say the car was doing it by itself. I believed him every time and thought the car was just my homie. My parents convinced us that the person knocking on our door on weekend nights when we were asleep was our Uncle Sherlock stopping to say hello. We don't have an Uncle Sherlock, it was the pizza guy. When I was a kid my dad told me it cost 25 cents to change the radio station to keep me from fucking with the radio in his car. I believed that until I was 14. My dad told me that the reason why police officers spend so much time at donut shops is because the shop owners actually need them there to shoot the holes in the pastries to provide them with the classic donut shape. I found out this was a lie when my dad caught me trying to get behind the counter at Dunkin' Donuts one time because I wanted to see the shooting. I was told by my dad when I was around 8 to 9 that the people at the sewage plant have been examining your poop and need you to eat more fiber. Edit, wrong age. Eating too much sugar will glue my ass cheeks together. Thanks mom. One time when I was 5 to 6 I asked my brother how French fries were made, and he told me they inject mashed potatoes into the skins of the fries with a syringe. I believed that until I saw my mom cooking home fries for breakfast one morning when I was 8. My grandmother told me that pinching gave cancer. I got pinched once at recess and yelled at the person because I thought they were going to give me cancer. My mom rented a Never-Ending Story and dad told me if I tried to watch it, I'd have to sit there forever because it never ended. I remember being thankful for my dad's warning and wondering why mom would do that to me. My dad told me he didn't have a middle name because his parents couldn't afford one. I believed this for a shockingly long time. I had no reason to doubt him, and I knew his family was poor. The button on your armrest on airplanes is the eject button. I found out it reclines your seat embarrassingly late. The rumble stripes on the side of the road are there to help people who are blind drive. When I was 6 my parents told me that when you flush from an airplane toilet, the waste gets dumped mid-air into the ocean. I believed that and told all my friends. Parents then told me they were joking and I became the class fool. My older brother pranked me once. I had watched a kids TV show. I think it was the electric company that featured a guest star who was a tap dancer. My brother convinced me that tap dancers made their tapping sounds, not with their feet, but with their mouths. I spent the next several weeks trying to tap dance with my mouth noises before my mom made me quit. That the draining sound of the water in the bathtub was a monster that would suck you in as well. A lie made to get me out of the bath. That guacamole was ground up guacamoles. Dads are great lol. I believed the crust in the bread had all the vitamins and the center parts were empty calories. The ice cream van played music to let everyone know he was out of ice cream. That the hazard button in a car would blow the car up. When I was a kid I asked my dad if reading enough books really could give you telekinesis. Matilda. He said yes. I spent many years after that thinking I just wasn't doing enough. That if you die in your dream, you die in real life. I believed that girls pooped and peed out of their butthole. When I was 16 I asked my older sister, when you go pee, how do you keep the turds from sliding right out at the same time? I was in on this lie between my mom and younger sister. My sister was about 5 years old at the time, and my mom convinced her that Benadryl was truth serum. My mom would threaten to give it to my sister if she knew she was lying. It was so hilarious, but my sister seriously believed it and would get upset. If you swallowed the black watermelon seeds, a watermelon would grow in your belly. You know how Barbie feet are on tippy toes, so they are shaped to fit into a high heel shoe. Well, when I was a kid, I thought that when girls grew up into women, that their feet would be shaped like that. Despite the fact that I lived in a house with 4 grown women, none of whom had Barbie feet. My mom told me my birthmark was a coffee stain from when she accidentally spilled coffee on me as a baby. I believed it till I was like 11. Walt Disney invented color. Watching a black and white show, I thought everyone from the 50s and lower had lived in black and white. I asked my father who invented color. Dad looked at me dead serious and said Walt Disney. I believed it far too long. My granddad would tell me that the button/switches to turn on the interior lights in his car were actually buttons for ejector seats. I would be scared to go anywhere near them in case I accidentally yeeted myself out of his Ford Focus. He was a funny dude. As a kid I had a strangulated hernia, which left me with 1 testicle. My dad told me if I ever had kids they would be all boys or all girls cause each testicle is for each sex. Believed it for years. My sister told me that if you count all the stones of Stonehenge you will die. I still don't know how many stones there are in Stonehenge. Edit. I just caught and told this to my sister, and she just laughed for about 2 minutes. I once thought academic scholarships were only given to dumb students, so that some of them could still attend college. I even told my older brother that he was so stupid, he had to get scholarships to go to college. He went to the Ivy League. That women's periods stop in water to avoid sharks smelling it. That our entire house was covered by cork-sized security cameras, and that my parents could see my every move. Dad told us his dried apricots were monkey ears, so we wouldn't eat them. This isn't a lie, but when I was a kid I had no idea how turn signals worked, and just thought the cars always knew exactly where we were going. My mom told me, while I was helping mix some batter or something, that if I changed from mixing clockwise to counterclockwise the ingredients would unmixed. I believed this for way too long and still only mix clockwise. One time I was at my dad's, parents separated, and him and a friend were hanging outside sipping beers and smoking cigarettes, while I was decapitating dandelions with my sweet ass plastic ninja sword. My dad never let me have soda when I was a kid. His friend left, and my dad went inside to do dishes. I saw a 7-Up can on the deck table, and sprinted towards and took a huge swig. Turns out they had been asking and putting their sick butts in there. I run inside and throw up, and my dad goes, "What happened? What happened?" I lied and said nothing, but he figured it out. So, he told me all the soda he buys tastes like that, even if they are unopened. I believed him for a few years till I was like 9.